Because hardly anyone has ever heard of this movie, I wonder how many people will be listening to this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Reflux capacitor, fluxing, crew to stations. Scanning for the peanut butter solution, 1985. Prepare to rewind in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the Master Interrupter Baldy Powers.
Hey guys, I never seen this movie before. I'm curious. The Peanut Butter Solution. Have you seen it?
I've seen it, yes, Paul.
How many times have you seen this?
Maybe once or twice before this, way when I was like 5.
5 times?
No, when I was 5, maybe I saw this a couple of times.
Okay.
Oh, did you really?
Yes, something like that.
Well, I never even heard of this, but did you get it like on home video or something?
I think it came on the Disney Channel, Paul.
No way. I had the Disney Channel and I didn't see this.
That's where I remember seeing it, but I could be mistaken.
Okay, I thought
Again, I was really young. So.
Yeah, okay.
And also for this discussion of the film, The Peanut Butter Solution, we welcome back aboard Clergy Officer Dallas Mora.
Hello.
Hello. Have you seen this before, Dallas?
I saw it today.
Woohoo! That counts.
What does it?
Yes.
Well, hey, I'll tell you this, in watching it, I was having some weird, like,
flashbacks.
have I seen this? Like, there's
okay. Yeah.
But at the same time going, it kind of reminds me of other movies. So I don't know. I was left confused.
Maybe they were incepted.
And
Dun,
maybe.
dun, dun. But we have our patron Jared Holzhauer to thank for he got the patron pick this time, and so he picked for us to review the Peanut Butter Solution. And now that we have
Jared.
Thank you, Jared. Now that I have a quick flyby of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for the Peanut Butter Solution?
All right. The Peanut Butter Falcon is rated PG-13 and runs an hour 37 minutes. It was released in 2019.
Paul?
Yes.
So I know you're getting older, but do you need to go to get a hearing test or something?
Why? The Peanut Butter, what other movie could there be besides the Peanut Butter Falcon?
The Peanut Butter Solution.
So, dang it. Hold on. Oh, got it. Okay.
Did you have fun watching that more than Peanut Butter Falcon?
Yeah, well, we'll get into that. There's no Shia LaBeouf in this one, sorry. But the Peanut Butter Solution was released December 6th, 1985, runs an hour and 33 minutes, and is rated PG and directed by Michael Rubo. Michael Rubo also wrote it along with Wojtek Jancy and Andre Pelletier, I think, with lead stars being Matthew McKay, Silyak Seisanatsi, Allison Darcy. The music was composed by Louis Fury, who actually won an award or two for this.
Oh, cool.
You ready for the box office trivia?
I am ready. Dallas, are you ready?
Yeah, totally.
And everyone in live chat, feel free to join in as well.
Well, hold your horses, because the Peanut Butter Solution was made in Canada with financial help from the government and released directly to home video. However, the budget and the sales cannot be substantiated since precise records were not kept after Tannen shot a newspaper editor who printed an unfavorable story about him in 1884.
I hate it when that happens.
That's why
I'm gonna assume this though.
It's actually done pretty well on sales for an independent...
fine. You happy now?
Maybe, yeah, sure.
Well, thank you, Paul, for those factoids, and let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Alice has located our target film.
Alert, alert. Approaching target. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
You loved The Dog Who Stopped the War.
But what did he see?
Spill it, you sniveling rabbit!
Now you'll love the peanut butter solution.
The last thing is a spoonful of peanut butter.
Human hair grows only half an inch a month. No more.
Don't use too much.
But Mr. Jingers, it's moving.
Michael, where's your hair?
Don't miss.
Coming soon. Consult your local listings.
Way to talk over yourself, outro guy. And I don't remember many ads for the peanut butter solution, and I don't like that more things are playing, but regardless, what did we all remember about the peanut butter solution? Let's find out in our memory mind meld synopsis for this film. Kid has leukemia and loses all his hair, sees an ad in a comic to regrow hair with peanut butter. So the kid tries the peanut butter solution and starts growing way too much hair. Then the kid is abducted and farmed for his hair. He is either dead or alive by the end. I mean, maybe a sliver of that was right, but most of it was. Like I said, I was like 5 when I saw this. I didn't remember hardly any of this.
You know what?
I'm trying to figure out where the comic book came from.
As off as some of that is, that's almost like a pretty comparable story to this. So
yeah, and Dallas is because comic books back then you bought all these weird things from.
Remember,
so
like X-ray visions and sea monkeys and hair growth, and
that's what I was thinking. So I just took a shot in the dark there. Based on those memories,
shot in the dark,
as flawed as the Wilhelm scream is, what rating did they lead you to predict for this film before rewatching it? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? And I was the only one who had seen this before. I predict. Well, I'll get in my prediction in a second. Dallas, what was your prediction?
So I've never seen this before, but a couple of folks I heard seemed to really enjoy it. So I was going in with a optimistic nostalgia.
Okay.
Nice. Because I had also never seen this before, but I went the opposite went, oh, if I haven't heard of it and what I have heard wasn't like, it was kind of weary. It wasn't like people weren't getting too excited. So I predicted tragic.
Tragic. I remember this being this sort of fever dream as a kid and never wanted to go back. So I too predicted tragic. It'll be interesting to see if those predictions pan out though. But let's talk about the things, there's probably things to like about this film. And let's talk about those things. Let's spin up our
Best 3.
And let's start with Dallas. What's one thing you liked about the peanut butter solution?
So one thing I enjoyed about the peanut butter solution is that, let me pull up my notes.
Oh, I liked my notes on this too.
So one of the things I enjoyed about the movie was the way that the kid's hair moved in certain scenes. I appreciated the practical aspect of that because like when he was trying to eat the soup and it kept covering his face, or just like the little hair growing out while he's like in class. I thought that was cool. I thought that was a great little practical effect. I mean, this is like
absolutely
1985, and so I just thought it was good. I thought it was a really well done thing, and I enjoy practical effects. So,
why wasn't all his hair growing at the same speed? Like there'd just be some tendrils that would grow fast.
Right.
He applied more solution on that spot. Not everything was evenly applied.
It was layered up in there.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason he added more peanut butter so that it could be more even.
Yeah,
but I mean, so it would stick because it kept running.
All right, fine. I suppose that that's a plausible answer. I will give you that. I also thought it was pretty plausible that you could take you could get this pipe and pull out, push it out the back of a truck and pour sugar, and that could lead a trail. Now, at first I'm thinking this is going to wash away, but the girl, the Michael's sister, I think his name's Michael.
Yes, Michael.
Susie, I think Susie's his
Susie was the sister's name.
Yeah, she's going right after this truck, trying to find where they took her brother because he was abducted, and I thought that was pretty ingenious. Oh, okay, I'll just follow this trail of sugar. So
really, because wind and other elements won't blow it away.
Not right away. I mean, she was right on. She knew she couldn't keep
real Hansel and Gretel vibes doing that.
Yeah.
Yes, but here's the thing, guys.
They had an endless amount of sugar in the back, so they could go all over town. It's amazing.
She wasn't trying to go somewhere and then be able to find her way back there. She's just following a trail just because she couldn't keep up.
I think that was cool. I think
with the car.
It added to the storybook feel of it. The Hansel and Gretel.
Oh yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, because exactly.
I did some Googling. This was a kid's story. Like, dude, his dad, he asked his dad to make up a story for him at bedtime.
The director had made this story up, for his kid or something. Yes.
So I was like, I appreciate that's a good little nod.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. We'll give him that. Paul, what will you give the film in terms of things you liked?
Okay. So here's a little secret when reviewing movies. A lot of it depends on your mood at the time.
Yeah, I could see that.
I was watching this right before dinner. And
so you were hangry. You were wanting peanut butter.
And when the sister came to deliver that sandwich to his room, when he was locking himself in that room, that sandwich sure looks so good.
Right.
I haven't seen a sandwich look that good in a while.
Yes. So it made you. So you liked the sandwich?
They did a good job with like the prop department on that sandwich. I gotta tell you. Not many movies or TV shows could do that. They may have done it on accident or whatever, but they did a good job.
I think Skippy was out there going, let's make this look good.
Yeah.
Fair. All right. Let's go back to Dallas. What else looked good to you about the Peanut Butter Solution?
I appreciated that the scenes that were meant to be creepy were legitimately kind of creepy at times. And then I appreciated the fact that the scenes that were supposed to be heartfelt and laughable and stuff like that, like the tones were the scenes. And again, this is supposed to be a kids movie that hit certain things, and so like the creepy stuff, it wasn't like, okay, whatever, you're laughing it off, like you're like, oh, that's legitimately some nightmare fuel right there. Good job, guys.
Yeah, and there are just certain scenes from this movie that definitely had stuck with me for a long time, like
peanut butter to the roof of your mouth kind of stuck with you.
No, ha, Paul. Yes, no, but there's this scene toward the end where he's taking Connie, the friend, back to where all the kids are abducted, and they're going through all this white fabric or white hair or something, and just something about it always creeped me out. I think him going through the house, the burned out house, was always a bit creepy to me. So those things sort of like, stuck to the roof of my mouth, except the roof of my brain, I guess you could say.
Nice.
But yeah, so I could see how that type of imagery you would like, Dallas. That's what you said, right? I remembered that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was creepy. I mean,
yes, exactly. Exactly. And that's how
it was. And I appreciate that, because when you have a movie that's trying to handle so many tones at the same time, it can get lost. And it's one or the other sometimes. And they did a great job of like, we're going to be creepy here, and then we're going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
Speaking of creepy, I'm going to take this off on a way big tangent. So I'm putting the call out to rewinders.
Buckle up, people.
All of you who I'm sure are watching this. I'm sure everyone's coming out for the Peanut Butter Solution and listening later on. So I have this memory of this horror movie that my dad was showing me. I remember coming home from like a carnival or a fair or something like that at school. My dad's watching this movie. It's this, I think it's a horror movie where this like, I guess 20-something man is an alien, and he has these, or he's maybe a human, but he has these bulbs of these eggs that are like little bulbs of light, and his skin like puffing up, and he's like, they're going to hatch under his skin or something. And I just remember thinking it's like these eggs that are in his arm, and they look like light bulbs kind of. So tell me, rewinders, what movie is that? Because I need to know so I can put it to bed.
I don't know, but I'm remembering it too.
What?
Well,
I am remembering these scenes too.
Wait,
what
really?
the crap is this movie?
Oh my god!
Because what you're describing sounds like the Dot Man from the Suicide Squad, but that's from like 2 years ago.
This would either be a 70s or 80s movie.
There's a texture to the memory, so
yeah. So
at first I was thinking maybe Guyver, but then you kept going. I was like, no, that's not Guyver. That's something else.
I've seen Guyver. It's not Guyver. So anyway, so If you have it, if you know what that is, please let us know. Okay, let's get back to the peanut butter solution. What we're talking about obscure movies. I thought it made sense. Paul, what's something else you liked about this film?
Okay, this movie definitely has like a fantasy element, like what you said, like storytelling. So
yes, absolutely.
When the at the end, when the main bad guy is in his factory and he's asleep and all the kids are sleeping, and he has these invisible strings coming from his hands so that he can detect kids moving around. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is part of the fantasy element. I get it. Mm-hmm. And then lo and behold, a kid has an invisible string detector. And
wait,
it's like,
are you sure we're not in the dislike section?
Yeah. Hold on. Because again, I'm like, okay, yeah, chalk it up to the story, the kid's fantasy. Okay, I get it. All right, moving on. But that detector, like, legitimately, like, works. Like, how it showed, and it's very useful. You're like, how could they possibly do this? But they do. They have a solution, and it works. It's
and not weird. A peanut butter one. No, I can't believe it.
It was very practical.
Fantasy is very reality and practical. If the thing if it actually existed, here's a simple solution to that. So I was very impressed by that.
Awesome. So you're impressed about, even though it was sort of fantastical and out there, they did have some groundedness to it, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't have anything to do with my next like, but I actually liked the Celine Dion songs. This was, well, I'll talk about it in trivia some, but she did 2 songs for this. The one that she sang during Susie, like on the bike looking for the sugar. Apparently this was my favorite part of the movie. I just liked it. It felt very much like a type of like a song, a power ballad type thing that you would hear in a kid's movie. I felt like it could have gone well in Goonies or Flight of the Navigator or other kids movies of that type. So I thought it just matched well with what they're going for in this film.
It sounded like a typical 80s song to me.
How old was she in this? Because I didn't realize that she did those songs. Like,
she was like 17.
Really young Celine Dion.
She was like 17 when she did that.
That's interesting.
Indeed it is, isn't it? Let's go.
That was one of your likes.
Interesting things, though, Paul, are classic makers for the peanut butter solution. Our most stickiest, yummiest parts of this movie. Yeah, we'll describe
crunchy
it
or
that
creamy.
Crunchy all the way, of course.
Nice.
But let's start with Paul this time. What was your favorite thing about this movie?
There's a line towards the end that says the biggest part of the fright is your imagination. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a throwaway line, but it's like a moral of the story. And I wasn't expecting that. And that's really good and really profound, especially for people dealing with trauma. I think a lot of their, I don't want to say it's all in your head, but a lot of the problems is that our when we dwell upon things, it just makes it worse and fester in our minds. And so I think a lot of the problems that when people do have fears, especially like phobias that can't be explained, like some of mine are. I think the problem is my imagination about it. It just makes it worse. So I didn't expect that from this film, like a little nugget right there. So that was cool.
That's interesting because I'm not going to share what it is because I don't want it to be used against me, but I was dwelling on like essentially one of the things that I'm really, really deathly afraid of just the other day. Just like, I was getting so bad, I just didn't want to think about it anymore. So I thought about something else, and it's something I could completely remain away from. It's not like something that's going to come after me. I have to go into this situation if I want it to happen. So I'm thankful for that. But
is it hair implants? No.
I'm good at that.
Sorry.
Come back, hair. Come back.
There's a solution for that.
Anyway, so your classic maker was that moral, and I almost feel like I have a similar mindset, and I don't know if it came from this movie, but I have this mindset of like with horror movies, I want to see it through the end if I'm going to watch one because I want to know how the bad guy's defeated. Essentially, otherwise, I'll have a nightmare, or I'll have this tension about it or in my nightmare I won't know how to defeat the bad guy, or so I wanted to be able to watch so that I would know how to defeat it, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Okay, good. Thank you for that confirmation. Dallas, was your confirm for us your classic maker?
My classic maker was actually the relationship between the brother and the sister.
Really?
Yeah. Well, growing up with I have a sister, and my sister and I are very close.
Oh, that might help. Yeah.
And we have those moments where we headbutt each other, but we genuinely care about each other. We will go above and beyond to take care of each other and try to create ways to do some stuff. So for me, I found that very relatable, because that's like my sister and I would do some similar things. Some of the fighting stuff was a little bit more than what my sister and I would do, but legitimately, like we would go above and beyond to take care of each other. And like the sister really genuinely seemed to care about her brother, even though he annoyed the mess out of her at times.
Yes, but
I appreciated that. And so for me, that was my classic maker. I was like, okay, this is cool. I appreciate the family atmosphere that's put out here. We'll get into the tragic portion of it later, though. But yeah,
very cool. My classic maker. I'm glad that we're all over the board with this. We're all picking out different things that we liked. It'll be interesting to see if it's all the same things we dislike. But regardless, my classic maker had nothing to do with the characters. Is all about the concept of so toward the end, when we're in the Signore's like dungeon, essentially for kids, his kid labor factory. They're talking about a way to escape, and it's through the paintings. And they go back, they show Connie, who's the friend of Michael that's new there. They're like, oh, here's one way to escape, but we can't. And it's these beautiful paintings that are like have animations on them, so they're not realistic, they're magical in some way, and you can actually go into them. And I just really love that concept. I wish that had been sort of more of the focus of this film.
Yeah, totally.
Because I think that like going into another worlds, I know, yes, it's very Mario 64, but I mean, this predates that by a lot.
Right.
I really like that idea.
Mary Poppins, then.
I did love Mary Poppins, Paul. So there, ha. I know it's Disney, whatever. I just thought that was a really cool concept, and would have liked that to have been explored more. And they don't have to make it animated. They just go into this painting and you have a realistic world of whatever the painting was. Yeah. But then trying to escape through like lots of different paintings or something, or take a paintbrush and then they paint a new scene to try to escape. I don't know. I thought that it could have been a really cool amplification.
Almost
kind
of like a
concept,
Page Master, where they had to go through different books.
Yeah, I guess it could be similar to Page Master. Yes.
That would have been a really great story, though. I think you need to call this guy up and have a conversation with him about doing
I'm going to make my own.
A part 2.
Wasn't this the part 2? Of a series
director, writer, have I got a solution for you?
Wow.
It's going to be big, kids. It's going to be big.
Oh, my word.
Money's going to grow everywhere.
What's everywhere?
Money's just going to grow everywhere.
Exactly.
Kind of like hair.
So now it's time to get to the portion of the show where I always forget what we're doing, because I can't just follow my notes. Heaven forbid I do that. The thing I forgot, guys, the thing I liked, is the Untold Podcast. The Untold Podcast is a speculative fiction podcast utilizing the genres of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, among others, in order to engage the culture's imagination from a Christian worldview. Every month, Nathan James Norman produces and narrates a new story presented in a unique and dynamic way. Check out the Untold Podcast at untoldpodcast.com to listen and leave them a review on Apple Podcasts.
That's great, Francisco. But what does the Untold Podcast have to do with the peanut butter solution?
It's sticky.
Lots of things.
It's sticky?
It sticks with you. All the stories of the Untold Podcast stick with you. And also, there, like we were just making mention of a second ago, that this is like one of a series of different stories that I guess were produced in Canada. Excuse me, that aren't necessarily related to them. So I don't know how they're related, but apparently they are in some way. I guess it's similar to how Cloverfield is a series of different stories that are just tangentially related.
Aliens.
Sure. And then the Untold Podcast is a collection of different stories. So that's how they're related.
And Nathan lives near Canada.
That too. Yes, exactly.
I'm trying to help you.
Thank you. I don't need help. I got this.
Oh, you need help.
For that.
Do you?
Oh my God. You seem unconvinced, Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
Would you like some trivia about this?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Did you all realize that while on a promotional tour of The Dog Who Stopped the War, which was like the first story in this series, Peanut Butter Solution is the second story, producer Roch Demers crossed paths with 17-year-old Celine Dion at a radio station in Trois-Rivières, something like that. Quebec. In Canada, yeah. In French-speaking Canada. He was so impressed by her singing, he asked if she would do some songs for the soundtrack of the Peanut Butter Solution, which he was about to shoot. Those songs, Listen to the Magic Man and Michael's Song, ended up being the first English language songs Celine Dion ever performed.
Wow.
My question to you guys is, what is your favorite foreign language you like hearing sung?
Well, I'm going to take Dallas's answer and say it's Japanese because that means I'm watching anime.
Fair. All right.
Or Klingon because that means there's about to be a bloodbath. No, I'm joking.
Oh my gosh. Do they only sing when they're fighting or something?
No, there's other times, like in ceremonial stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. So Japanese. How about you, Dallas?
Mine's kind of a toss-up. I do enjoy listening to Japanese music. Mm-hmm. But I also really enjoy listening to Spanish music.
Oh, okay, cool.
Stuff that's in Spanish. I really enjoy, I can never say it right, Cubano. It's like a Colombian style music.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoy reggaeton and other things. And so, it's, I don't know. I like the way it rolls out. Spanish is a romantic language.
Yeah.
And so, but it's nice to listen to. And then I like Japanese. I just do.
Awesome.
The theme song to Demon Slayer is a banger. Like it is just lit. And then the theme song to season 1 of Iron Blooded Orphans is my jam. Like that is my get up and get out the door. Let's rock and roll song.
Very cool.
Hold on. Iron Blooded Orphans.
We're out of anime. We're not doing it.
Raise Your Flag is the name of the song by I can't remember the name of the band now.
Man with a Mission.
Yeah, Man with a Mission.
Yeah.
Anyway, here live in chat, we have Ashley. She says Japanese followed by Spanish and French.
Let's go.
Neko says Japanese. RT Seth says Hungarian.
Oh, that is good.
Cellcast Gaming says I like J-pop. Fair. And then Neko says Inkling and Japanese.
Celeste likes Inkling music too.
Okay, you Splatoon people. And then Yoshi says Imagine Demon Slayer music in Spanish. Oh, like imagine that? That'd be interesting.
That'd be lit.
And then Dale likes Native American. Interesting.
There is some really pretty Native American music out there. Like it's
Kabuki Theater.
Pretty lit.
Okay. Awesome, guys. Well, very cool. And thank you, everyone, for sharing what your favorite type of foreign sung language is.
Yeah.
Foreign language sung. Yeah. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our rad rewinders, had about the Peanut Butter Solution.
All right. Kevin Joshua Burnham says, yes, I remember it very well. It brought nightmares to a whole new level, but still, my eyes were glued to the television every minute. The peanut butter didn't work, but the butt whooping did. Was there a butt whooping?
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I don't remember a butt whooping. Did Kevin get a butt whooping because he watched
probably
this?
Did. No, Kevin.
There was a fight on the soccer field, but no.
That might have been it. That might have been it. The fight.
But that wasn't no butts were whooped on there.
Yeah, they just took his wig off.
Yeah,
with this, how is the glue applied in those blobs? That didn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you just spread it all over?
Anyway, Jared Holzhauer goes on and says, it has always seemed like a fever dream from when I was a kid. It wasn't until I looked it up as an adult that I knew for sure that it was real. Dun, dun, dun.
Colin says, I remember seeing this as a kid. It was different.
Nate Henderson tagged Bria who then added, Oh my gosh. I can quote the entire scenes from that movie.
Wow.
Wow, that's impressive. Aaron Huey says, never heard of this, which starts a trail of this. Continue.
Drake Tungsten says, peanut butter is the solution to all of life's problems. I think I mentioned that I love peanut butter. Never seen this, though.
And Drew concludes with, I know nothing of the film, but it's not documentary. But if it's not a documentary about how they improve jelly sandwiches, I call hacks! Hacks! Well, thank you all for sharing your memories, or lack thereof. But maybe there's a reason not to watch this movie. Let's get into our things we hated most about the Peanut Butter Solution.
Was 3.
And let's begin with Dallas once more. What's something you didn't like about this film?
Things I did not like about this film. How much time we got left on this podcast?
Where to begin?
All right, so
well, you said you were here until Jesus comes back, so ha ha ha.
All right, let's rock and roll.
Make good on your promise, Dallas.
Is that before or after the millennium?
Oh my gosh.
The story beats of were just felt real disjointed. Like it was just like a series of small things that they just slapped together. Like they're like, hey, I got this story, I got this story, I got this story, and they kind of loosely put it together. And
I know another movie that's just like that.
Yeah, only
that Monty Python, the Holy Grail. You bring it up again, Captain,
to let people know not to go see it.
Mark this in history. Somebody clipped that. The captain recognizes Monty Python as a movie.
Oh
no, it's not a movie.
He said another movie.
No, it reminds me. That was a slip of the tongue. It reminds me of another series of stories smashed together, claiming to be a movie.
Anyway,
but yeah, it felt disjointed. It was awkward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'm watching it and I'm going. Like at one point, I'm like, did I fall asleep? Like I legitimately asked myself, did I fall asleep and miss a story beat? No, it's just the cuts are just awkward at times.
They are. And it's like the first one at first, like the kids, Michael and Connie, they're going to soccer practice. Then they're in an art class. Then they're coming home from school, apparently, where they didn't show them going to soccer practice, but the dad still asks about soccer practice, which is very confusing.
But then they explained that they didn't have time, and so they didn't go to soccer practice. They went straight to school.
I don't remember that, but okay.
I will agree that the parts of it were disjointed, but I didn't feel it was that. I'm curious. Now that you bring it up, it reminds me that I actually saw the extended edition, which had about 3 extra minutes in it.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
I was able to borrow it, but I wasn't able to listen to the commentary or see the behind the scenes. But I'm curious, with that extra 3 minutes in your version that you watched, did the best friend Connie apply the solution to himself?
Yes. Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
That's another conversation.
Okay. In your version did it show how he got rid of it?
He yelled at it?
He said stop to it, apparently.
Yeah. And then after that his voice changed?
No.
Okay. After that, after he yelled at it, his voice changed, and they had somebody dubbing over that part where he was talking, and then all of a sudden they cut to the next day, he's talking normally.
What?
Yeah. Okay.
So here's the deal. This was made for television.
Yeah.
The movie's an hour and 30 minutes exactly.
Mine was an hour and 33.
I think they cut it because of that. I'm wondering what else they didn't like. I wonder if that's why it was disjointed, was because they're like, we got to cram this into.
Yeah, but why cut those transitions?
Yeah, exactly.
And then another thing is, like, apparently I keep wanting to call him Sergio. What's his name? Signori.
The Signor.
Signori and the doctor and the homeless man and the art seller are all brothers by the end.
Rabbit. Yeah.
Twins. They were all twins.
Whatever movie.
Why are you hating on families and brothers?
Paul, what's something you hate on about this movie?
Okay, as an art student, I found it ridiculous that the art teacher was making a point for the dog to stay straight staring ahead, but like 90% of the kids' drawings, the dog was to the side.
Yeah, right?
So, hello, director, have the dog pose to the side so it matches.
Yeah, because obviously everyone's using their imagination if that's the case. which wasn't okay apparently.
It doesn't make sense. Anyway.
Right. It doesn't make sense. Similar to that, similar to something else that didn't make sense is there's no way. So okay, we mentioned Michael's. So he lost his hair, and his sister and dad convinced him to put a wig on with some glue.
Yes.
So he's like, "Yay, I'm better! Woohoo! This is great." He goes to soccer, and then he gets into a fight with some kid. Yeah. Michael throws the first punch. I mean, he got seriously, you thinking, kid, that you have a sensitivity, but whatever. He doesn't realize that.
Well,
so
I think he's
reacting
punch with his emotions rather than his brain.
Fine. And so he gets his wig pulled off by this bigger kid that he's like fighting against. And then all of a sudden, without skipping a beat, every kid is able to come up with a chance, lickety split. Oh, it's the baldy, whatever. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. But it's like, oh, do you guys just practice this? You just have this in your back pocket just in case there's a kid that's bald. Okay, good. I'm glad we have this all set up.
Well, it's a common tease in Canada where they tease people.
Connecticut.
Yeah. But it's not about bald people. It's about something else. So they just switched it with bald. So
is it really? Are you making that up, Paul?
I'm making it up. You said there's no way.
Much like these kids. All right. Yeah. Okay, good.
That was very convincing, Paul.
Oh my gosh. So that's something that bothered me. Let's go back to Dallas. What's something else that bothered you about the peanut butter solution?
Another thing that bothered me about the peanut butter solution actually involves
it was mostly not peanut butter.
Well, yeah,
five dead ants.
No, it was the
5 dead flies.
Why didn't they do a background check on Sigourney? Like, I understand it's the 80s. I understand it's Canada. But I mean, surely people are doing background checks in Canada in the 80s.
Apparently, you don't understand it's the 80s, and you don't understand it's in Canada because
they just let anyone teach.
Yeah.
I'm just
grandson of Rembrandt. Qualified.
Absolutely.
No.
Has he got an Italian accent? This is the guy, obviously. And then, like, at what authority does this kid have to look at him and go, I'm never coming back to this class if you rip up? Like, when that kid said that, I was like, who is this kid? Who is Connie? Why does he have this stout? Like this?
I thought it was an after-school elective.
I thought so, too, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know. Because that's the first class they're at, apparently. But whatever. Yeah, the peanut butter delusions, Dale, exactly. So, I was very curious how Kanye's all of a sudden like, don't rip up my painting, and that this teacher just got hired inexplicably. What was
the fact that he didn't rip up his painting kind of confirmed that it was an elective that he was paying extra for. It's like, well, I got to have this kid's money to eat, so I wanted to stay.
Maybe that was it. I don't know. That didn't quite land. If that were the case, I would have liked a bit more to have.
Like he was making more money selling those paintings.
Yeah, probably. Why wasn't he just selling those magic paintings? I feel like he would have made bank, but whatever. Anyway, Paul, what was bankrupt about this film for you?
The acting. The acting on this is so local theater. It's so kind of it kind of impresses me more. Like, I don't know how like Spielberg and like Richard Dunn are able to get these magnificent performances out of kids that a lot of other people don't get. I don't know, but this one is it's not the worst acting in the world, but it's certainly not some of the best.
Yeah, so true. I did. Well, okay. This goes into another dislike I have.
Also, apologies to local theater actors. I'm not harping on you like that's bad. I'm just saying
it did feel like a PBS special actors.
There's a level of acting here that is less than. Let's put it that way.
I can't wait for Wishbone to run across the screen.
Nice. So I liked the actor that played the dad, whose name was Colonel Ty from Battlestar Galactica.
I'm glad I'm not the one who saw that.
That's not his actual name. I forget his actual name. I don't have the IMDb up. Maybe Paul can find that. But I liked what he brought to the character. I hated the character, though. Why are you making your daughter take care of your son so that you could just be up there drinking, making art? I mean, that's awesome that you're an artist as your profession. Fantastic. That's so cool. You have kids to take care of, too, if you're going to be home with them. So get on that, Dad. That just bothered me so much. And then she's like, the daughter's expected to just do all these things. And I get it. If they're latchkey kids, he has to go off to work at a factory or something. Fine. All right. Then she's taking care of Michael. I get it. Cause that I can relate to that, but that he's there. I'm distraught. So,
well, the mother passed away and he's dealing with.
No, she didn't. She went to Australia and
returned at the movie. Yeah, at the movie, yeah. So
yeah, she's back.
Sure? Maybe she was a ghost. Maybe they just had their eyes closed the entire time. They know she was there.
Oh my gosh! Wow. I'm just getting to my trash makers. We're right there. The contrivances, and this goes along with the pacing too. The contrivances of this film are so ridiculous. I cannot with this. So
Michael Hogan was the dad's name. The actor who played the dad, by the way.
What was it, Paul?
Michael Hogan.
What was the character name?
Billy.
Dad. Billy the dad? Oh,
yeah, Billy the dad.
No, well, he wasn't Billy the kid.
Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification, Dom.
Yeah, I just wanted to interrupt your ramp as you were going.
No, right? Let's just go off in a ditch now. Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, this is just. I felt like there's contrivance after contrivance after contrivance. It's like you were saying, Dallas. Like where all these stories put together. It's all like, oh well, we're in this part of the story now. How do we get here? Oh, let's just write this. Do this thing. Oh, this will get us to the next part. Oh, okay. Now we're fine. Some of the things that come to mind are as much as, yes, it was somewhat clever that they had a invisible wire detector, or visible string detector. I'm like, why? I don't understand how you come up with that. It seemed very like, we have this thing to get around this thing. It's like, why even have him having all these strings if you're going to get around it anyway? And what's the point of having that if you can't get out anyway? It's just, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then they convince him to draw the old house that was burned to the ground. That wasn't really burned to the ground because it's still there. They finally have a place that they can go to in real life and get out. So they should all just flood into the painting.
That's what I was expecting.
Like, they don't do it.
Yeah.
So the fright goes off Michael onto Senor, and somehow that stops his hair. But Connie was able to stop his hair just by yelling at it. I do not understand. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I thought the fright was supposed to take away your hair. Why is it stopping his curse of the hair growing? It's so much doesn't make sense. Just so much. Okay, I'm done ranting. Dallas, what was your tragic major?
My tragic major kind of goes along with your, like, things just didn't make sense throughout the entire movie. Like, why is this happening? Like, why were the kids suddenly cool with Signore? And like, why was all of a sudden, like, when he's Bob Rossing that painting,
he's painting a cool thing.
Yay!
That's so amazing.
He loves the kids. He's been a grumpy grouch old this entire time, and now he's like, look at me, kids, bloop bloop, like he's laughing, he's joking with them. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, is everyone suffering from schizophrenia or something like that,
or Stockholm syndrome?
Maybe, just like Beauty and the Beast. I don't know what's happening anymore.
Wow.
I just don't know what's happening in this movie half the time, because the things just don't line up. Yeah. And like they're saying things, and all of a sudden this is happening. I'm like, what? Why? Yeah. Like, why are the cops? Why is nobody really concerned about the fact that 20 kids are missing?
Right.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, your brother kidnapped my kid. Like, that's it. That was the line.
Yeah.
Like, just as chill as can be. I'm like,
well, they're Canadian, so they're a little bit more chill up there.
Oh my word. Where's the maple syrup joke next?
I'll leave that one alone.
Paul, why don't you tell us about your tragic maker for this film?
I agree with my comrades here. The tragic maker for me is that this movie is dumb. It's dumb. I don't know. There's so many better stories and better things that could be put on film, and then they put this on film. This movie's just dumb.
Yeah. Some good ideas just executed. So, and just like, I don't know.
There might be a few good ideas, but it's.
Yeah. But just not worth the price of admission, which is video, apparently.
And your time.
Exactly. Well, I mean, but maybe it doesn't dictate the final rating. Just that it was dumb is your tragic maker. That's fair.
Well, hold on, we're getting there.
We're about to get there. In fact, let's get there. It's time for the moment of truth. We've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer. Alice, you have a firing solution for us.
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo at the ready. On your mark.
Neko says it would have been better as a book series or something. I could see that. I could see it being like a Goosebumps or something, maybe. Mm-hmm. But I still feel like the storytelling could have been tighter. Regardless,
Pull up Dapperman's comment.
A Dapperman's comment. Okay, that's. I'm looking for it here. They probably got mauled by a bear. It's Canada. Who got mauled by a bear?
The kids, because the bald guy called the bears on him for mocking him. It's a Bible joke. Read your Bible.
Wow. We're going to get to spiritual speculation here in a second. Anyway, Dallas.
Sir.
Clergy officer who obviously knows his Bible better than I. What is your final rating for the Peanut Butter Solution? Classic. You'd recommend anyone go out and see this film whether or not you've seen it before. Nostalgic, it's worth your time to revisit if you have seen it, like back when you were 5, like me. But if you've never seen it before, just stay clear. Or is it tragic? It's not worth anyone's time today, whether or not you've seen it before.
I believe that anybody who has seen this movie as a child will go back and visit this and regret it.
I was wondering how this holds up for people who saw it as kids, because I saw it as an adult, and my final rating is obviously tragic if you haven't guessed it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
I'm in the same. It's tragic for me.
I can't believe it's not peanut butter.
Rewatch with the commentary. It's just not worth my time.
Like I went into, because again, I heard a couple people talk greatly about this.
Yeah, because
like they had some fond memories. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go in there and I'm really good at going, okay, this was for a target audience.
Yeah.
And go, okay, I can suspend that. And I kind of a little bit, okay. I can see a young Francisco enjoying this. Because you did watch it as a child.
That doesn't mean I enjoyed it, but okay.
But it's in that film, that area. But I'm just like, this was not a good film. Like, it kept reminding me of Witches. That's the movie it kept reminding me of as far as the genre. I can see that.
I remember liking Witches fairly well, but we haven't.
Yeah, because Witches still had that, like, it's creepy, but it's fantasy, and it's maybe a little bit older kids. Mm-hmm. But I have zero desire to go watch this on Tubi for free again.
Exactly.
I kind of want to know if I'm getting paid for those commercial breaks.
Wow. Maybe you should.
Brought to you by Skippy.
Tragic for you, Dallas? Is that
what
your final rating was? Yeah, and it's I'm sure you could have guessed. It's the same for me. I was like, I'm glad I got to revisit this movie that I remember being scary and like very like, what is happening from childhood that I didn't remember that much of. So I'm glad I revisited. Now I know, though, not worth my time. So it's not sort of like lingering there. So now we just saved you, awesome listener, a ton of time, an hour and a half of your life. One day we might go as high as 5, but that really won't do for you.
Even though we took an hour already, so we saved you a half hour.
I'm sure you're doing something else, like you're driving to work or you're
I feel like this is
doing
more
a workout
cohesive.
or something. Yes, I think so too. Very cohesive. Exactly.
Like peanut butter
Oh my goodness. Thanks for playing back ball. Well, now it's time to get back to our own time. Oh, well, I should have said. So according to the Retro Rewind podcast, we have solved it. See, it's a solution. Retro Rewind podcast rates The Peanut Butter Solution a undisputed tragic film. We'd recommend no one go see this, whether or not you've seen it before. If you remember thinking, oh, this is kind of cool as a child, it's not. Just stay away. Go watch
Goosebumps.
I don't know. Goosebumps, I guess. Goosebumps. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Something like
that's
that.
That's what I was thinking.
Dang.
But
Watch that now.
It's time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
20XX?
Comsat online. Receiving incoming transmission.
Yeah, or go see the Mortal Kombat movies like Bobo says. Exactly.
Doing that tomorrow.
Feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 1985 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflex capacitors, namely Jared Hozar, who suggested this film, Deborah Powers, Brian Keane, Patrick Hicks, Chris Cowan, Geek Devotions, you're right here, The Untold Podcast, James Kennison, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Cronenberg, Pastor Dewson, Kennethan, Redeemed Otaku, That's Our Bobo, Josh Adams, D. Tungsten, Andy Lewis, Jeff, The Dapper Man Reviews, Tony from the Retro Days, Mr. Lost, Daryl Hafner, Rosie, in addition to 7 other patrons as well.
Nice.
Well done. Hey, Jared, I hope you're not offended by us not liking your movie.
Yes, I hope you're not, Jared.
But we have a solution for you.
We have many for you.
Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to keep us flying for as low as $1 a month and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to start.
This stream sponsored by PaulJPowers.com.
Yes, and we also want to thank NLCast, who is James Kennison from That Story Show, for their new review on Podchaser. He says, 5 stars, the hardest working indie podcast I know of. You guys are dedicated and talented. Wow. Thanks so much, James.
Thank you, James. Very kind of you to say.
And while we're thanking people, we also want to give a big peanut butter hug to Dallas.
Wow. Sticky.
For supporting us with his thoughts on the peanut butter solution. So, Dallas, where can people find you online? Is there anything cool you got going on?
Yeah, you can primarily find me at geekdevotions.com, where you have links to all of our social media platforms. Geek Devotions is a show from Devoted Geeks. We're devoted to letting you know what you love through by taking geek pop culture items and using it to let people know through love through devotions we put out on YouTube. We have a couple podcasts, such as The Bottom Shelf, where we review terrible movies, like Peanut Butter Solution. Yeah.
Are your Killer Tomato movies out yet?
Yeah, actually, we have both of them out.
There's 2 Killer Tomato movies?
There's 4.
There's 4.
What?
So we're not doing the last 2.
Thank you. Because 2's terrible enough.
So, but that being said, really excited. We just launched this past month a new podcast called We Read Allegedly, where my bride Celeste and then our great friends Catherine and John, it's kind of like a book club. They bring each have brought a book to the conversation, and they read it and review one book at a time. And so we have a new episode that just dropped this past Friday. And
what's the book?
The book is called. I don't know.
Does comic books count?
I asked them about that, and they said they count as books because I don't read normal books, but not for their stuff, for what they're doing for the things.
What if it's in another language like manga?
That's a great question.
What if it's sung in another language?
Oh.
So the last book they did was 14 by Peter Clines, which is a really interesting.
Never heard of it.
I've heard of Peter Clines.
Celeste will tell me about the story as she read it, and there's a big twist that she wasn't expecting that took place halfway through the book.
Like a pretzel twist?
No. It's a 7. That's right in the middle of 14.
Whoa!
Like a genre twist that takes place.
Oh, okay, cool.
And that she was not expecting. And I'm actually legitimately contemplating reading it. And I don't typically read books because I'm a poor reader. Uh-huh. But yeah, but We Read Allegedly is our new podcast we have out. But you can find all this stuff at geekdevotions.com.
Awesome. Nice. Thank you again so much, Dallas. And my awesome crunchy peanut buttery friend Paul, and all you rewinders new and old for another fun voyage with us.
You're welcome. And you can find me, pauljpowers.com at pauljpowers.com.
Whoa, it's like it's in the name.
Whoa.
You can find me on Discord, on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
And as Nathan just said, we are now part of Culture Box Media Network. Find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media. And with that, Captain, we're on final approach to base, where hopefully the peanut butter solution has worked there at least.
I hope so. Thank you, EXO, and thank you all for listening. We pray you're more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for Dave, our next episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Oh, Dave.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to nav point Omega and return to base.
Go away, Connie. I do not want any visitors. He's only trying to be nice. I look disgusting! You hear? Disgusting!
Wow. Takes me back to the peanut butter solution. And you know what, Paul? You know what's the actual peanut butter solution?
The marriage of jelly and peanut butter?
Actually, yeah, that's way better than what I was going to say.
Speaking of marriages, let's review the next episode of Firefly.
Ship like this, be with you to the day you die.
Retro.
Because it's a death trap.
The pod of rewind.
Pretty cunning, don't you think?
They were robbed of time, young indeed, made them poor, burnt out on dullness, what was it all for? With Firefly now, what reviews will they find? The hero of time, Retro of Rewind.
We gotta go to the crappy town where I'm a hero.
Paul, you look like your ears are bleeding or something.
I wonder why.
The beauty of that rendition.
Well, maybe I aim to misbehave.
Oh my gosh. But yes, we're taking this year to review each episode of Firefly on our way to our Christmas episode, which will be covering the movie Serenity. And Paul, what episode are we covering this time?
This time we're reviewing episode 6 called Our Mrs. Reynolds. It was released October 4th in the year 2002. Do you want to go ahead and see if you can give us a one episode synopsis? That this episode, unlike most, was actually written by Joss Whedon himself.
Oh, okay. Yes. The one sentence synopsis is thus: a stowaway gets on the Firefly, pretending to be the captain's wife, but she's actually stealing the Firefly for some brigands that are going to tear it down to parts, and the crew has to figure out how to double cross her back.
I thought she was like quote unquote legitimately married in their culture. I don't think she was a stowaway.
Yes, but she wasn't actually part of their culture. She just happened to be there.
She was
really?
Yeah.
Thought they were group. I thought she was like implanted herself there too. All right, never mind. It didn't really go into the details, but I can see how that's plausible. Sure. Oh, and also thank you for that synopsis.
I love my captain.
So let's go around and say one thing. What was essentially our classic maker for this episode? What was our tragic maker? Who did we connect with the most during this episode, or what character do we like? And then whether or not we would continue watching the series based on this episode. So let's start with Dallas. But first, me and Paul have seen this series before. Dallas, have you seen this series before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So what was something you really enjoyed about this episode?
I will say this probably about every single episode, and that is the humor, the brand of humor that takes place throughout the entirety thing. There's this snarkiness that takes place that throughout the entire thing, like when Mal's talking with crazy wife lady, can't remember her name.
Saffron. I'm Saffron here, but she's there.
I wanted to call her Sephiroth for some reason.
Sephiroth from 5 as you 7. Sephiroth.
Yeah. So, but when he's talking to her, and when she's playing the poor pitiful me maiden, and she's talking about being killed, he's like, look, you don't have to do that. Don't you put up with that either. If somebody tries to kill you, you try to kill them first.
Right back.
It's like what? Like, I appreciate it. It's like it's a snarkiness that is sarcastic but good natured at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite parts about the entire franchise as a whole. And I think this episode did a great job of mixing that together, where you had the snarkiness, but at the same time they took things pretty seriously at times.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they had better tone than the other movie we talked about recently.
You mean Peanut Butter Solution?
I'm sorry, what movie was that?
He's just blocked it from his memory.
The name of this episode that we're recording.
I'm sorry, I put that in the dumpster fire. That movie doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, wow. He sent it to the recycle bin and just deleted it straight away. Oh my goodness. All right. So that was the thing you loved most about this, was sort of the writing style, the snarkiness and seriousness.
Yeah.
Paul, what did you really take away from this episode that you enjoyed?
The thing that I liked the most, not necessarily took away, was I like the twist of Mrs. Reynolds being not who she was.
Yes.
But more than that, once I knew that he was not who she was, I liked seeing her trying to manipulate and outwit the crew.
Yes,
so
totally. That was
fun. Yeah,
absolutely.
I wonder, Paul, because I remember when I first watched the episode and going, "Holy crap!" That's taking place.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that would have been my thing that I liked the most today, if this had been my first time watching it. I wonder if rewatching it, it's not as interesting to me.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like a magician. You already know the trick.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
That brings us some interesting questions about the rewatchability, which is funny. So I'm saying, we rewatch it. So
I really like this actress, Christina Hendricks, especially in this role. And I love that she comes back there. I find she's definitely like a sociopath. She doesn't care about anyone but herself. But I like how Mal is sort of juxtaposed against that, because he's very honor bound. He cares about his honor. He cares about doing the right thing, even though he's an outlaw. He's like a sort of Robin Hood type character, I'd say, in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate sort of those two sort of squaring off. And I think one of the things that I love that. I love a lot about this. So I was going to talk about Shepherd Book and the special hell, and I thought that was funny. But I will say I just like how Mal is like really struggling to just like, you know what, I'm not going to take advantage of you because I didn't mean to marry you, and so I'm not going to like lean into that. And then it's just like eventually it's like he can't stand it, and that's when he like drops. So so I'm glad. I just like how the whole thing happens. But especially the thing, I know I'm just going gushing about Firefly. I love at the end how he says how the reason he succeeds is because he is part of this family. He has people he's working with. He's not just soloing it, which totally. I think that's something that so many people is like feel like they can just do things on their own and they'll be okay. But no, you need a community of people around you to really succeed. That's why you guys are so awesome. Paul and Dallas, and also your rewinders at home or wherever you're at right now.
I was going to call you out for picking more than one thing as your classic maker, but since you threw that compliment in, I'm going to let it slide.
Thank you, XO. All right. But maybe what wouldn't you let slide about this episode of Firefly? The thing you hated most about it. Let's start with Paul.
one of the thing that I didn't like most, my tragic maker for this episode, is it says it quotes the Bible when it doesn't, which is frustrating because in a previous episode they quoted the Bible about you should not suffer a witch to live, and that's actually in the Bible. And this time they're quoting a passage they say is from the Bible, and it's not. And it's
not at all.
I mean, that's not something that I don't think anybody should be toying with in that manner.
Yeah.
Quote the Bible. If not.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it sounds like it could be in Song of Solomon, but it's not at all.
It's not.
It's not.
No.
Yeah. So that's fair. I mean, though, I think that goes to her plain people. And like if she were to do that to Shepherd Book, he would know, well, that's not in the Bible. I mean, I would like to think that he, knowing the word, would be like, that's not in the Bible. What are you talking about?
Or it sounded like I was thinking that maybe that their Bible on that planet is different. That's why Mal goes, oh wow, good Bible. Like it's different depending on where you live.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. Sort of like, I don't know, like the Mormon Bible or Watchtower or something. Like that. Or, yeah. Okay.
But I blame Joss Wheaton because he aims to misbehave.
It's the Whedon Bible. It's the Whedon translation. Yeah. Boo. Boo. That's very fair though, Paul. Dallas, is that related at all to yours? Like something about that part? Or is there something else
I can see where Paul's coming from, and I'm with him. It's like if you're gonna quote the Bible, quote it. But at the same time, you kind of bring up a great point. Like, was that just a manipulation tactic? Mm-hmm. She's banking on the fact that Mal probably hasn't read the Bible since the war. I mean,
yeah.
So that's interesting theory that's put out there.
A Firefly theory. Thanks for listening.
All right, end of show, guys, ladies. So as far as for me, this is my one constant dislike for Firefly, and I feel bad because it's general. It's the CG.
Especially on the
does
planet.
not hold up well.
What are you talking about? It holds up.
I don't think it held up well for even back then. I mean, I feel like Andromeda came out about the same time.
You think Andromeda looks better?
I think so.
All
I think the
right.
ship
I mean,
looks better. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but just thinking about other things like Star Trek: Next Generation, the Enterprise. Take that, compare that to Firefly, which came out years later, and it's just like, I mean.
They probably didn't have the budget, but I get what you're saying.
A little different because you're comparing an actual, because I think they are still using an actual model during Next Generation versus a complete CG thing. Yeah, I could be wrong.
Right. But so much of the show was so practical. I feel like they could have just gone with a model.
Maybe
for a lot of that. Now, granted, that would have been difficult for things like the web thing and all that kind of stuff. We've been corrected. Andromeda came out 2005.
So and this came out in 2002. So it's
about the
same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought you were going to say like, here it is, the 6th episode, and I don't see a big fiery shiny butt on a firefly with its wings glowing,
yelling at me. Get from Shreveport.
Yeah, wow. Mon chéri.
Wow, guys,
that's a Disney reference, Francisco. In case you missed that,
I did miss it. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, the thing I would have liked to have missed from this episode, is that how I would phrase it? Or this episode should have missed? Well, the thing I don't like about this episode, I'll say that, is that I feel like they don't utilize a lot of the crew. Like River and Simon are very downplayed. Jane, well, I think they may be the only ones, because Jane has Vera, which I really love that whole bit.
That was so funny.
Shepherd Book has Special Hell. Inara has this spat with, because, and I think it's saying up that she's actually jealous that he got married, because she does have a fire for him. A fire? Is that what you say? When you have a flame? A flame. Yeah, a flame for him. Thank you. Yes, a firefly for him. Exactly. Yes. And Selka says, yes, TNG did use a model for the Enterprise and other ships. I knew it. I knew
they
it.
should.
But where is it going? So I guess that's not really much of a dislike, because Simon and River aren't like my favorite characters or anything. So I guess I just felt like it was
It's Joss Whedon. He's normally good with like collaborations between an ensemble cast, and he didn't use all his moving parts like he normally does.
I guess I just would have liked them to have been feel like they're more part of it. I think Simon said, "Who's the new recruit?" And that was it.
Yeah. River had one line.
I don't even remember River's line. What was it?
I don't remember it either.
I remember her on screen. I wasn't paying attention.
I think she just walked into the room and that was about it.
Hopefully she got paid just as much as everyone.
I mean, that's fine because they were the last episode safe. They were the main people there. So maybe they needed a break.
It ebbs and flows.
Yeah,
that was that was the whole thing with that show. Like this was early on in the. This was not meant to be late in the series. It was supposed to be like halfway through the first season, through the halfway mark of the first season.
Right.
So all those stories were building blocks were supposed to lead up to some stuff. So it made sense for that to have a lot of everybody and everything.
Yeah, that makes sense. Everyone was going to have their hero story. Since like next time, Janestown, I hope I'm right that we're finally to Janestown. So Paul can hear how my intro is exactly like Janestown's intro. Yes, it is. Don't shake your head at me.
Then I don't look forward to the next episode. And yes, the next episode is Janestown.
Vindication.
We'll see.
Hey, everyone here live chat.
7 episodes later.
You tell Paul that the intro for the little bumper for this Firefly section, you love it. It's the best thing you've ever heard. You tell him that. Tell him that.
You could have went with something like something like that, like the real intro to the. But anyway.
It's too late now. I put too much work into it. Sunk cost fallacy over here. Okay.
Hey, where's that dumpster fire door?
That's right. It's just to the left of the bay doors.
Okay.
Yep. You could have had Cellcast do it. Cellcast is amazing dubs.
Anyway, who was your favorite character, or who did you connect to the most in this episode? I'll go ahead and start. For me, I think it was probably Wash. Like I liked how and I connect with Wash a lot. I like his sort of snarkiness, his wit, because I am just so funny. No, but I like he's the pilot and that he's. I like that he did. I really appreciate that he was tempted by Saffron, but he's like, no, I'm married and I really love my wife, Zoe, and we have this thing. And Saffron's like, oh my gosh, and just kicks him. I thought that was very funny. But so I liked Wash a lot. Paul, how about you?
I normally don't like this character. In fact, it's my least favorite character is Jane. And that, because you're not supposed to like him,
Yeah.
And I think he plays the same kind of character in Chuck. You're not supposed to like him either. Anyway.
Really? No, you're supposed to like him in Chuck.
Well, I didn't like him in Chuck. I don't know. Maybe it's Firefly's fault. I don't know.
I never watched
Chuck. It's Full Metal Jacket's fault. I don't know.
I really like the whole scene with Vera, like him trying to trade the gun for the wife. Now, normally I said that's not cool, but I'm like, okay, this is a dude that is not well off. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Here's a chance for him to actually get a decent wife, like that might be good for him, might settle him down.
Yeah.
And might cut out, smooth out some of the edges. And then I'm thinking, after a while being married, he'd probably get angry again and then even be worse off. So maybe if he has kids, he'll settle down. No, but they're going to be disobedient, and that's going to settle out even more. So this isn't good either way. So I changed mine to Wash. Just because.
All right. There we go. Approve. I approve this message. And how about you, Dallas?
All right, so I'm going to say this, but I'm going to have to clarify before you guys jump on it.
Sorry.
I related to Mal quite a bit in this episode.
Huh? Yeah.
Because I had a not the same, but similar experience with what Mal went through years ago.
Okay.
So Les kissed you and you passed out.
Yeah, that's it. No, so when I was a young man, I was a teenager.
You still are a young man. What are you talking about?
I was on the back of the bus, coming back from an event, talking with some friends, and I have a bag of chips. I'm eating some chips, and a friend of mine offered me some of their chips, and they're like, "Hey, do you want some of these?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I got some, and it was great. And I got off the bus, and someone says, "Hey, Dallas, here's your new girlfriend." I'm like, "What?" Apparently, at the exact same time that my buddy was going, "Hey, you want some of my chips?" And I go, "Yeah." Someone at the front of the bus goes, "Hey, Dallas, will you date so and so?"
Nice.
And they heard me go, "Yeah." So
nice, a twofer. You got chips and
wow.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's crazy.
So I felt really weird for Mal when he went, I'm sorry, what are we?
No, you agreed. We all saw. There's a bus full of witnesses.
I just wanted some Pringles.
That's what they call it these days. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so that's who I related to quite a bit. Because
So it reminded you of that. That's cool.
Okay. All right. Well, then with
I was
that,
still waiting for the chips to be laced with something.
I was thinking that's where it was going too far. Exactly. That's what.
That was gonna get dark.
Messing my expectations. Okay, so given this episode, would you continue watching this series? If Dallas, how about you?
Oh heck yeah.
Okay, heck yeah. Paul, how about you?
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I'd give it another go.
I would as well. So with that, guys, thank you so much for listening to this review of Firefly. Until next time, stay shiny.
And good night.
Don't let the space bugs bite.